Hey guys, it's me again. So over time, a lot of people have been asking me about my drawings and just how I produce them in general. So I thought I would just make a short video today just to tell you the general process I go through in producing a piece of art. So one of the most primitive but surprisingly satisfying way of drawing is with a pencil and a piece of blank paper, which I often do when I'm not doing anything in particular, or the YouTube video I was watching was not particularly interesting. And that's also how I started. That's how before I had more advanced ways of drawing, I always preferred drawing with a pencil or any pen I had in hand, actually. And drawing on any blank spaces, and back in middle school that was my textbooks. So if you check my textbooks, most of them would have some sort of scribble on it, I think every other page. And yeah, so you can also I also have this drawer which I keep my paper. I took this from my friend Steven. When I said took, I literally, I just said, do you need this? Can I have it? And then, because he's super nice and he doesn't really ever say no to me, so I literally took this from his place, just like a lot of other things that I took from his place. You're a good friend, Stefan. And so the other thing that a lot of people are interested in, but have no concept when I mention it, it's the drawing tablet that I have. Please don't ask me about the bro. It's a Sinotech. Says here Sinotech, and it's probably from this company called Jijun Computer or something. It's probably a Taiwanese company. I have no idea how much this is worth, because it's a gift from my friend Ellison, and she doesn't know how much this worth. The price is either, because she also got it as a gift. So I thank her forever for this precious baby, and this is what I draw this is what I use to produce a digital drawing. And you see here they have a USB head, and you can just plug into your computer. And oops, and this is the pen that I use to draw on this particular tablet. And you see you have a stand here, so this is where you can place the pen. And then I also have this wooden figure I got from Mongkok, which for a short while helped me to draw positions. But I mean, I would say I don't really use it for reference anymore, but more like for fun, you know, to make it do weird positions rather than to draw according to rather than to actually draw it. But yeah, it would be handy tool for someone who is still learning the proportions of the human body, or wants to challenge themselves to very awkward positions. But you know, but it really depends on what kind of figure you have, because this figure of mine cannot do, like, it can't really stretch very far, and yeah, and you can see the hand cannot actually touch the head, which is kind of a problem if you want to draw a position that requires that that kind of gesture. But anyway, you know, when you slowly get better, you don't really need these reference every time. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is to demonstrate how I usually draw. And so I usually use, this is Photoshop CS5, and yes, as you can see, it's in Chinese. It's always easier when the software is in your mother language. I know a lot of people assume that I use everything in English, which is not true, because no matter how well you are in a certain language, it can never come as handy as your mother tongue. And so if you think I write good in English, you have no idea how well I can write in Chinese. So I'm just gonna do a very quick demo with the tablet. My computer is a bit slow right now because it's running multiple software simultaneously, but bear with me So I just drew an apple, and then I'm gonna save it, just name apple, and then I'm gonna switch to another software, Paint Tool SAI. I don't know how other people call it, but that's how I call it. I just call it Paint Tool. And then I would find this apple right there, and then I usually do my line art with Photoshop, and the rest with Paint Tool. The coloring, do the coloring with Paint Tool, and I'm not really taking this drawing seriously because it's just a demo to show you how these software works. And you know, you're welcome to look these up on the internet and see if any of these are two of the most basic tools that I like. I use these two for almost every drawing, and I sometimes use other software as to kind of help out with the effects, or you know, because each software has their own pros and cons, and Photoshop basically covers the most important functions when you're trying to paint. And you can always start with I would always advise you to start with Photoshop, and because it basically has everything you need. But if you want to have to create more advanced effects, you will slowly start to look for other softwares that could meet your needs. But it really depends on your style and basically your own preference. There's no standard in what kind of software you must use to make your art look good. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much done here. Another thing I want to talk about in this video, I wouldn't say advice or suggestion, just very, very casual tips for anyone who wants to do better in art, or to, you know, become an artist. I mean, I'm not a professional artist. I don't think I ever will be, and I still have a lot to learn. So, but you know, I'm not in the position to actually teach you anything. But if you're a beginner, and I do have some tips for you, just to put you in the right state of mind to further pursue art or whatever you're doing. I think a lot of people go through the stage where they just started, or they've started for a while but it's not seeing much progress in what they're doing. And when they see these what we call biggies, or like really famous artists, and we look at their art and we just feel so tiny, and that's normal. Like I think most of us go through that kind of stage, and me too. Like when I see people who draw brilliantly, and then I would just think to myself, when would I ever get to that stage? Can I ever be that good in art? And that's normal. But what you shouldn't do is to let that feeling, you know, overwhelm you. You know, you shouldn't panic, or you shouldn't you shouldn't give up because there are so many people that are better than you. You know, that's kind of stupid, because every artist started out as a beginner. You know, nobody's born anything except, you know, naked. So of course there's the question of whether you have talent or not, but I think that's not the main issue here. I think if you're really passionate about it, you should never be frightened. You should never be intimidated by other people's achievements, because, you know, those were not birthrights. You can always, and then the most important thing is you don't have to be them, because everyone has their own style, and so it's not really something you can compare with one another. And so if you think someone else's art is really, really good, what you should do is to learn from their styles, to learn from the way they play with the colors, or the way they manipulate the effects. That's something you should pay attention to, instead of just thinking to yourself, this is so great, I can never be like them, maybe I should stop trying. That's really stupid, because everyone started out looking up at someone who started out earlier and is doing better because of that. Another important thing I would address is that there is no shortcut. It always takes time to draw more and practice more, or just browse more art, and be very observant of everything around you, because you never know what could become an inspiration for a future piece. And really, I guess if you're passionate enough about it, you will eventually get somewhere. If you are not intimidated by all these great artists before you, it's not a big deal, because everybody's different, and you should be confident in your own work, and you should be confident enough to continue on with your style, your pursuit, even if you're not thinking of becoming a professional artist. That's just fine. That's not a problem at all. You just have to be very, very patient, know your own weakness. I think that's also very important. Know your own weakness, and seek to improve that particular weak spot. And I think over time you will see the difference, because when I look at my older art, some of them were created before I had this tablet, and I had to basically draw them on paper and then scan them onto the computer, and then color with back then I only had Photoshop, so color with Photoshop. And I wouldn't dare look at them again, like even now. Like even if I show you the first drawing I did with my tablet, it's very different from what I would do today. And it wasn't actually, it actually isn't that long ago. It was less than 2 years ago. I think it really takes time for you to improve and to find your style. So if you're a beginner, my very personal, I would always tell people, if you're trying to if you're just gonna kickstart an art career, maybe you should just start with Pokemon. So I always tell people, start with the Pokemon, and then start with Diddle. And then slowly to learn to draw more complicated stuff. So to sum up, I think the most important thing is to find yourself rather than to be someone else. And it works not only for art, but also writing and filmmaking and other forms of creation in general. I'm probably not making much sense here, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.